Benedict, let's start first with this sentencing yesterday for Julian Assange of nearly a year in prison.
Yes, so the judge could have given Julian Assange, the co-founder of Wikileaks, a full year. She sentenced him to 50 weeks, so for just 2 weeks shy of that year. He sent a letter of apology. He, in fact, was there in person. He apologized for any offense he may have caused. He explained, really, that his biggest fear was being extradited to the US. And so in British law, what normally happens is if for good behavior, you actually do half your time. So that would effectively be 25 weeks. If you knock off 2 weeks, because he's already been incarcerated in Belmarsh prison for 2 weeks, then we're down to 23 weeks. But in a sense, that's a minor jumping bail, and that 50-week sentence, effectively 23 weeks now left, is the least of his problems. Let's remember that that was actually for an extradition warrant at the time by Sweden. He was wanted for rape, sexual assault allegations which he categorically has consistently denied, says are politically motivated. But now, today, the much bigger charge, and in fact I'm surrounded by people who are about to go into Westminster magistrates who are both media and people who supporters of Julian Assange, because there is still huge world interest. So you don't just have British media here, but also actually international media here.
Certainly, because he is now facing what could be extradition to the United States. Today is the first hearing of that extradition battle, but it could actually take years.
Yes, I mean, it's interesting because the European arrest warrant, the EAW, that's a fast tracking system, and that took months, years, certainly of him going through the British judicial process, one that he lost at every turn. That first extradition case he lost, the appeal he lost in the High Court, and then the Supreme Court he lost, and then, as we know, jumped bail. But this is much, much more serious, and this is basically, you've got these serious accusations and indictment by the United States and the Department of Justice. Now, it is important to say that this was rumored for a long time, but it was only confirmed about an hour or two after his arrest, expulsion from the Ecuadorian embassy, where he had self-incarcerated himself, taken refuge for about 7 years. And here, on this indictment, he risks 5 years of prison, we're told. Today, he will not appear in court, unlike yesterday, where we saw him clench his fist to his supporters. He will appear via video link from prison. And as you say, this is the beginning of what could be a very lengthy process. And of course, he's accused of publishing, releasing on the internet these highly confidential, secure, or had been thought secure, documents that are diplomatic communications internal to the US diplomatic system that pertain to Iraq, Afghanistan, and this is very serious accusation, of course, along with Chelsea Manning. We know that Julian Assange collaborated with Chelsea Manning, and it will be very interesting to see what comes out of today's hearing. And of course, Julian Assange's lawyers will say this is a fight for his life or death. They do not want him to go and to be extradited to the US. It's interesting that the Labour opposition party is also against that. And, you know, if it does take a long time, and if Theresa May and the Conservatives are no longer actually in power, could we then have a different official policy of perhaps not extraditing Julian Assange to the United States if, for example, it was a Prime Minister, Jeremy Corbyn? Anyway, we are here today. It starts at 11:30 Paris time, and of course, we'll be reporting as soon as we get any kind of result out of this hearing today.
Thanks for that, Benedict. Benedict Pavio there reporting for you from London.